Jneyam yattat pravakshami yajnatva amritamachnute anadimat param brahma nasattanna saduchyate. So this knowledge about Jneya would enable you to move towards that final, ultimate, permanent, blissful state. Amritam means moksham, blissful state. Then, as we have been always saying, even if you do not realize that at one go, you should move towards that, and at every stage you will get a better happiness, better peace of mind, better pleasure. So, in our everyday life, if we inculcate these attributes, at least to some extent, you will be moving towards a status of happiness. Anadimat param brahma na asad uchyate. Of course, here many acharyas give different interpretations, but as I am following what Raghavendra Swamigalu has written, which is very eloquent and communicative, I just mentioned that Anadimat param brahma, that object for knowledge is Aksharam Brahma Paramam iti Anadimat. It does not have any beginning. Already he has said, Nantam Namadhyam Namachana Tavadim. When Krishna, Arjuna sees Vishwarupa Darshana, he describes Krishna as a person not having any beginning, any middle and any end. So Anadimat, he does not have any beginning. Adihi Eshamasti iti Adimanti Dehendriyadeni Tataha Brahuhi Prakrita Dehendriya Gunakarmadi Hinam ityarthaha. That means Adimat, all our Deha, Indriya are having beginning. They come and die, they come and vanish, they come perish. But like our scripts, they come and die.
All the worldly beings are Prakrita Purusha.
Prakrita Purusha.
He is
Aprakrita Purusha. Yeah, that is why it is called as Paramatma, Sarvottama, Parama Purusha.
He is not emergent from
No, he is much beyond that. So Anadimat means Adimat is all the objects and he is not Adimat. So from them he is different. Then he is Kshetrantargataha Bhutva Kshetrajnaha ityuchyate. Tad Brahma. That Brahma also in Sanskrit etymologically means Sarvaguna Paripurna. Brihantaha hi asmin gunaha iti Brahma. You see, that is having all auspicious gunas, and he is the personification of all auspicious gunas.
Here I am deviating, sir. The word Brahma, when I was probing into the Vedic cosmological theories, there I could see that for the word, the etymology was given like this: Brahma Vispotane Vyapane.
Okay.
Vispotana and Vyapana. It has resemblance with Big Bang theory.
Yes.
So Anuraniyan Mahato Mahiyan. He was subtler than the subtlest, much smaller than the full stop at the end of a single sentence. So such a smallest object he was in the beginning. When Vispotana has taken place, he spread himself into this universe and he manifested. So that there the word Brahma, the derivative root was given as Brahma Vispotane and Vyapane.
Vyapane, yeah, absolutely.
So, that's
in Brahma Sutra's Bhashyas, Yathato Brahma Jidnyasa, at that time the word Brahma etymologically is given, as I mentioned, that Brihantaha hi asmin gunaha iti Brahma. There again, as you know, in Sanskrit, the Brahman Nakaranta Napumsakalinga is Parabrahma. And Brahman Nakaranta Pullinga is Chatumukha Brahma.
Savana Brahma,
Nirguna Brahma. So Anadimat Param Brahma. Na Sat, na Asat. So here, as Raghavendra Swamigalu gives the meaning, Sat means it is in the form of Karyajata, that is existence, Vyakta. Karyajata antargatam na. And Asat means Asat Avyakta Shabjita Karanantargata. He is neither a cause nor the ultimate effect, because he is not transformation. He is always as it is. So in the case of an ornament coming from the gold, the ornament becomes Vyakta and it becomes Karya. Then the gold is Avyakta. When the gold ornament is there, gold is Avyakta, means the cause. So that he is not a transformation. So he is neither Sat nor Asat. He is both. Though he is Vyakta, he is also both avyakta. Prashabdita karyajata antargatam na, as in the form of karya. Vyakta means he is manifest. Avyakta means not manifest. You know, in the Brahma Sutras, we have a sutra, Brahma Sutra, which says in Vedas at some places he is described as manifest. In some places he is described as non-manifest. How can the same entity has the two opposite attributes, being manifest and being not manifest? The answer to that is his Achintya Shakti, and that is his Ichha Shakti. He can choose when he should become manifest, and he would, by and large, as you said, Anoranayan Mahato Mahiyan, he occupies every place but not visible to us. In fact, in Brahma Sutras they ask this question: if he is occupying Vyapta, Sarva Vyapta, why we are not able to see him? So that is due to Achintya Shakti, he remains unmanifest, but through your sadhana marga, if you get aproksha jnana, he becomes manifest, as it has happened to many tapasvis, rishis, whether it is Dhruva or Prahlada or Gajendra. They have all been able to call Paramatma in front of them for getting the proper redemption from their miseries, from their bondages. So in the same way, Vyakta and Avyakta. See?
Avyakta, according to Sankhya also, is Prakriti, Moola Prakriti.
Moola Prakriti, yeah, that's
so
right.
it is unmanifest.
Unmanifest.
And all its evolutes are manifest.
Manifest, yeah.
So cause is unmanifest and
That's
effects are.
it. That's it.
So he is neither the material cause.
A material cause, nor the material transformation. It's a materialistic transformation. So that is how the word Sat na Asat, na Sat na Asat is interpreted. Na Sattan na Asat uchyate, na Sat tat na Asat uchyate. Anadimat param brahman na Sattan na Asat uchyate. Sarvatah. Now what are the other features of Paramatma? Sarvatah panipadam tat sarvato kshishiro mukham sarvatah srutimalloke sarvam avritya tisthati. It's a beautiful verse describing his all pervasiveness. Sahasrasirsha purushaha sahasrakshas sahasrapat sabhunum vishwato vratva atyatishthad dashangulam. And even when Arjuna sees him, he describes him as
Aneka bahudara
vaktra netram pasyam devadamastava dehe dehe rupam mahatte bahuvaktra netram Mahabaho Bahubahurupadam Bahudaram Bahudaushtrākaralam Dishtva Lokah Pravyathitāstathāham Anika Bahudara Vaktra Netram Pasyāmitvam Sarvato Anantarupam Nantam Namadhyam Napunastavadim Pasyāmi Vishveshwara Vishwarupa. You know, these things cannot be described through our laboratories or physics laboratories experimentations. These are to be conceived. Since he is Sarva Vyapta, he is everywhere, we should have the conception. That is why he showed the Vishwarupa as the way in which he is present everywhere, you see. So he is present in all objects, and that is why he took manifest as a fish, took manifest as a tortoise, he took manifest as a pig. All these are different objects that exist among us. So he took those avatars. In my interpretation, it means he demonstrated to the world that he is all pervasive, everywhere. Sarva bhutasthamatmanam sarva bhutani cha atmani ikshate yuga yuktatma sarvatra samadarshanaha. Earlier also he has stated. So he has got not one pani and pada, his entire form has got pani and pada everywhere. Don't try to draw a figure from this. You must have the conceptual faith that he can do the job of a pani or pada or chakshu or siras or mukha through any part of his figure. He has no figure as such, but everything becomes every indriya as per our own domestic consumption, you see. Sarvata srutimal loke sarvam avritya tisthati. Sarvataha akshi, siras and mukha. Then sarvataha srutimat, the ears. Sarvam avritya tisthati. He occupies everything and remains unaffected. Tisthati means remains in a very stable form. Sarvendriya gunabhasam sarvendriya vivarjitam asaktam sarvabhruchaiva nirgunam gunabhoktrucha. So the personality of Brahma, Parabrahma, is sarvendriya gunabhasam. That means all the indriyas and the vishayas, indriya and guna means their vishayas, abhasam bhasayati pratyayayati pratyetiva sarvendriya gunabhasam. He throws light on all the objects of the indriyas, that is why we are able to perceive them. And he himself also has a full knowledge of all the objects of the universe. Again, is an abstract conception of a powerful force which is beyond us and which exists. We will have to have the faith that such a force exists. Earlier I gave the example of a cell phone being able to capture the signals from all over the world, even from the outer world, you see. And who created that ability in the space for the signals to move? So that is provided for in it. That is why I asked once a great space scientist, I can even give the name U.R. Rao. In fact, in our organization we had the program of sending distinguished persons for lectures in Southeast Asian countries. That was called as the program of eminent lecture series in Southeast Asia. And similarly, many distinguished persons from Southeast Asia were invited by our organization, where I was Director General. So once we had picked up U.R. Rao to deliver lectures in Indonesia, Malaysia and some of these, to show what kind of space science has been developed in India. It was a very effective program to showcase our abilities and also equally know from other countries and establish an intellectual linkage between the Southeast Asian countries. That was at the time when India started adopting the look east policy. We had forgotten about the neighbors, nearby neighbors, but we are moving towards Europe and USA. So the shift in our approach was required, and my organization produced this program and we were doing. The short point I am mentioning is, I asked U.R. Rao, we understand that Shabda is Nitya. In our Veda Apaurushayatva, we consider Varna as Nitya. If that is so, can I capture the signals emanating from the voice of Vedavyasa? I just asked him this, is it possible? He said, in the space there are millions and millions of signals and we are unable to identify them, read them and decipher them.
Proper medium to
capture them. So when the Veda Apaurushayatva Vada is based upon the principle that Varnas are Nitya, and they do not die. Of course, our Varnas die when the waves go, but in general the Varna of the powerful rishis and personalities are supposed to be existing always in the space. So the point is that everywhere he is able to provide light. So Sarvendriya Gunabhasam, all the Vishayas of the Indriyas are illuminated by him, and that is why we are able to have the knowledge about them. Sarvendriya Vivarjitam, but he himself does not have our physical Indriyas as we have. Asaktam Sarvabhruchaiva Nirgunam Gunabhoktrucha. Asakta means he does not have any lepa. When we get Sangha, when we get the lepa, so if I do a job, I get the karma. Lepa means the corollaries of emotional transformations. So I give an example, I am doing the pravachana. If pravachana is to generate lepa in me, I should allow the emotion of vanity, emotion of ego, emotion of desire, lobha to come in me. So if I do not allow these emotional tendencies to come in me, I have not allowed pravachana to generate lepa in me. So in the same way, any karma which we do, if we allow these emotional effects on our mind to take place, then you are subjected to the bondage. The basic idea of moving towards gunathitatva is not to allow any of these gunas, sattva-guna, rajoguna, tamoguna, to have the corollary effects on you in the form of generating Kama, Krodha, Lobha, Moha, Mada, Matsara. So Paramatma is beyond Prakriti and Guna, therefore he himself is Asakta, Nirlepam. You see, then Sarva Bhrat, Bhrumi Bharane. So he is the Poshaka for the entire universe. Nirguna, again it is very clearly stated that he does not have the effects of these Prakrita Guna. Nirgunam, Guna Bhoktracha, and he is the ultimate enjoyer of all Kalyana Gunas and Kalyana Kara effects of the universe. So these are his characteristics. He is now, after giving to us the necessary and sufficient conditions to be eligible to know Paramatma, now he himself is telling what that Jnaya is. He is describing his own personality, so to say. See, Sarvendriya Gunabhasam, Sarvendriya Vivarjitam, Asaktam, Sarvabhrutchaiva, Nirgunam Gunabhoktracha, Bahirantascha Bhutanam, Acharam Charamevacha, Sukshmatvat Tadavidneyam, Durastham Chantike Chatat, Bahihi Antascha Bhutana. For all the bhutas, that is pranis, he is outside and also inside. Acharam, he is not moving away. Sarvadeseshu gamanat charam, anyatha bhavarahityat acharam. That means there is no transformation, disfiguration of him. Therefore he is stable, achara. Then chara, but still he can move to all the places as a niyamaka. Therefore charamevacha. Sukshmatva tat avidneyam. As we said, anuraniyan mahato mahiyan. So he is smaller than the smallest anu of the so-called science, and tat avidneyam. You cannot really comprehend him because he is much more aprathigatvat. That means he is much more minute than any minutest thing which you can conceive of. Therefore avidneyam, he is not to be comprehended fully. Ito vacho nivartante aprapya manasasah. Leave alone our bhautika indriyas, even the manas cannot reach him fully. Durastham chantike chayata, he is the repository of all contrasting gunas because of his achintya shakti. Sarvagatatvat dure antike samipecha sthitam, because he is dura.
Aseno duram vrajati, sayano yati sarvata.
That's what I wanted to say, exactly. Yes. So that is in the Upanishad which says, Kathopanishad. Avibhaktancha bhuteshu vibhaktamacha sthitam bhutabhartricha tadneyam grasishnu prabhavishnu bhuteshu avibhaktam. He is the same entity in an elephant or in an ant or in a bird or in the human beings. There is no difference between his personality insofar as he exists. Bhuteshu vibhaktamacha sthitam. But still he looks like separated in terms of his personality. You see, we will not go into the personality of Jiva. Then again different viewpoints come, the Dvaita, Advaita, Visishta Advaita. The Dvaita says all the Jiva Bhedas, and Advaita says all Jivas are one the same as Brahma. And then Visishta Advaita, they are similar to Brahma and so on. But that is not germane to us. I don't say they are not important, but we will not go into those controversies. In my view, I used to say that in your Vidyapita also, that do not get bogged down by these fine-tuned differentiations. In the present world, where we have to protect the importance of Vedas, we have to show that Vedas are a rich reservoir of knowledge, we should all join together to show what are the common trends of messages that are useful in our everyday life. So, avibhaktam bhuteshu, vibhaktam ivacha sthitam. You see, bhuta bhartracha. Again, bhartru means dharana poshana kartru. Bhrumi bharane, dharana poshana karta. Tadneyam grasishnu prabhavishnu cha. That jneya, that is object for our knowledge, grasishnu prabhavishnu cha. He is also a devourer of all the objects and also generator of the objects. Jyotisham api tad jyotihi tamasah paramuchyate jnanam jneyam jnanagamyam hridi sarvasya vishthitam. He is the provider of jyoti to all the luminary objects, illuminating objects. He is beyond tamas, not subject to the influence of darkness or ignorance. Jnanam jneyam jnanagamyam hridi sarvasya vishtitam. This final characteristic of Paramatma is very important. He exists within each one of us, provided you are able to see him through, you can see him inside. There is a statement in the Brahma Sutra Bhashya saying that Agnau Kriyavatam Vishnuhu Yoginam Hridaye Harihi Prathimasu Aprabuddhanam Sarvatra Viditatmanam. That means for those who do the Agni Karya every day, homas, they see Paramatma through Agni. Then Yoginam Hridaye Harihi. Many yogis are able to see him inside their heart. Like people like us, we see in Pratima. Of course, in Venkateshwara idol, Lord himself is standing. We don't have to do Bimbavahana there, he himself. But in our puja every day, whenever we open our puja box, we have to do the Bimbavahana. We take out Lord from within, Avahana in him, and then puja, then Yutkamena, again you take back to your Hridaya. That means, what's a profound, in everybody's body, that great personality is existing in some form. Still Mahapurushas see him everywhere. They are called as Vyaptopasakas. They can see Paramatma's existence everywhere, and they are very careful in committing any wrong things, because they see him everywhere. So in that way, Hridhi Sarvasya Vishtitam iti kshetram tatha jnanam jnen choktam samasataha madbhakta etad vidnyaya madbhavaya upapadyate. Now he sums up. This is what I mean by Kshetra and Kshetrajna. I have told you also the object to be knowledge, samasataha. In short, I can go as the entire Vedas as telling the details about it, but I have given in brief. Madbhaktaha etad vidnyaya, my bhakta, knowing this, madbhavaya upapadyate. Here Raghavendra Swamigalu gives the interpretation of madbhava as mayi bhava, existing in him. Of course, these words of Vedas and literature give credence to all the three schools of thought. Madbhava may mean becoming myself, he becomes Brahma. Mayi bhava means he come to my house, and in Vaikuntha I provide to him a fully furnished room, and I take care of him, he enjoys the complete bliss, so he stays with me. But both are implying that the ultimate goal is one of blissful state. See, madbhavaya upapadyate. Once who has this true knowledge about Kshetra and Kshetrajna, he will be eligible to get to the moksha.